God, after he had spoken to our fathers in the prophets, in many portions and in many ways, in these last days has spoken to us in his Son, whom he has appointed heir of all things, through whom also he made the world. And he is the radiance of his glory, the exact representation of his nature, and upholds all things through the word of his power. When he had made a purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, having become as much better than the angels, as he has inherited a more excellent name than they. For to which of the angels did he ever say, "Thou art my Son, today I have begotten thee"? And again, "I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me." And of the angels he says, "Who makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire." But of the Son he says, "Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever, and the righteous scepter is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated lawlessness. Therefore God, thy God, hath enthroned thee, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy companions. And thou, Lord, in the beginning didst lay the foundation of the earth. Heavens are the work of thy hands. They will perish, but thou remainest. They will grow old as a garment, and as a mantle thou wilt roll them up, and as a garment they will also be changed. Thou, Lord, art the same, and thy years will never come to an end. But to which of the angels did he ever say, "Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet"? Are they not all ministering spirits, sent out to render service for the sake of those who inherit salvation? Therefore, my brethren, we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard. For if the word spoken through angels proved unalterable, and every transgression and disobedience received a just recompense, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? After it was at the first spoken through the Lord, it was later confirmed to us by those who heard, God himself bearing witness with them both by signs and by wonders and by various miracles and by gifts of the Holy Spirit, according to his own will. For he did not subject to angels the world to come concerning what we are speaking. But one has testified somewhere, saying, "What is man, that thou art mindful of him? Or the Son of Man, that thou art concerned for him? Thou hast made him to be for a little while lower than the angels. Thou hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou hast put him over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet. For in subjecting all things to him, he left nothing that is not subject to him. But we do not yet see all things subjected to him. But we do see him who has been made for a little while lower than the angels, namely Jesus, because of the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. For it was fitting for him, for whom are all things, and through whom are all things, and bringing many sons to glory, to perfect the author of their salvation through sufferings. For both he who sanctifies and they who are sanctified are from one Father, for which reason he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will proclaim thy name to my brethren. This is Jesus singing here. In the midst of the congregation, I will sing thy praise. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children God has given me. Since then, the children share in flesh and blood. He himself also likewise partook of the same, that through death he might render powerless him who had the power of death, that is, the devil, and might deliver those who through fear of death were subject to slavery all their lives. For assuredly he does not give help to angels, but he gives help to the descendants of Abraham. Since therefore he was tempted in all things as we are, yet without sin, he is able to come to the aid of all who are tempted. Therefore, brethren, he had to be made like his brethren in all things, so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest to God, in order to offer sacrifice for the sins of the people. Therefore, holy brethren, partakers of a heavenly calling, consider Jesus, the apostle and high priest of our confession. He was faithful to him who appointed him, just as Moses also was in all his house. Now, Moses was faithful in his house as a servant. Christ was faithful as a son over his house, whose house we are, if we hold fast our confidence and boast of our hope